right, guys, if you will flip to your notes 5-8, we're going to be graphing systems of inequalities now. So now you're going to be graphing lines, but instead of graphing one line, you are going to graph two. So pay attention, write this down. And if you have questions, make sure you're stopping and asking. Okay, so system of linear inequalities. This is just two or more inequalities that are graphed together. Okay, now the solution to a system, this is just a little bit different. This is just the overlapping region. Of both lines. Okay, a couple of things that you may need to know for just a quick refresher. This is a less than, and you're going to be a dashed line and you shade below, so D dash be below. Greater than is a dashed line and above. Less than or equal to is a solid line and below. Greater than or equal to is a solid and above. So going over these now, we have y is less than 1/3 x plus 7, and y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 4. Before you can graph, they have to be in y equals. So this graph, the m is 1/3 and the b is 7. So I'm going to start up 7. And then I'm going to go down, up 1 and right 3, which I can only get 1 point. So I reverse it and go down 1, left 3, because it's a positive line. So I should make sure that my line, when I draw it in, would be a positive line. Now be very careful, because this is not a solid line. This is a dashed line. So you come in and you just put dashes every now and then. And this one tells me to shade below. Now do not overshade. I'm just going to come in here and shade like this. Now if you're a color coordinated person, this may help you because you're going to have two shades. So I'm going to switch colors. Now for this problem, my M is -1 and it's technically over 1, and my B is 4. So I'm going to start at 4, and then I go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. I keep repeating until I have all of my lines, and then I go up and I reverse it. Now, we were doing graphs the other day where they did cross each other and they crossed at a specific point. These did not cross at a specific point. This one is a solid line, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that solid line in. You can see I did not share a point. They did not go through a point where they're both at. Okay, and then this is a greater than or equal to, so I shade above. Now, if you notice, I shaded in, there's 4 regions now. There is one region where there's 2 shades. So therefore, your answer today would be in this overlap region, which you can just darken in with pen or pencil. You don't have to use a highlighter. You don't even have to use different colors unless you want to. It just may help a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go to example 4. I have x is less than -4. Since this is one letter by itself, it's ready to go. We go to that axis at -4. This would be a dashed line. And since I want numbers less than -4, if I look at it as a number line, bigger numbers are on the right, smaller numbers on the left. So this is the side I want to shade. Now for my other equation, 3x plus 2y less than or equal to -2. This is not in y equals, so I'm going to move that x by changing the sign. That gives me 2y is less than or equal to -3x minus 2. Y is not by itself, so now I have to divide everything by 2. And now remember, we are coming back to this now. We've done it before. If you divide by a negative, you must change the sign. But the 2 is positive, so I don't flip the direction. And -3 divided by 2 is -3/2. And -2 divided by 2 is -1. Okay, therefore my m for this problem is -3/2, and my b is -1. So I'm going to start down 1, and then -3/2 tells me to go down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. That's all the points I can get that way, so I reverse. Up 3, left 2. Up 3, left 2. Up 3, left 2. Okay, looking at this inequality, that would be a solid above. So I'm going to connect the line. Nope, sorry, solid below. I was looking at the wrong one. This one matches that, so solid below. So I would shade over here. Okay, and you see again that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 regions, and one region has both shades in it. So that's my overlap. That's where you would find your actual answer. For number 6, neither equation is NY equals, so I'm going to pull down the first one. Hold on, I got to pause.
Just please excuse this interruption. If you will please read the email that...
Okay, so sorry, I had to pause. So now back at this. Okay, so I'm going to bring down that first equation. And to get y by itself, we're going to move that x by changing the sign. That gives me 4y is greater than negative 6x plus 12. And then I divide by the number in front of y. Since I'm dividing by a positive 4, I'm going to keep the greater than. Negative 6 over 4 will simplify to negative 3 halves, keep x. And 12 over 4 will simplify to 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and graph this line. I start at 3 because that's your y-intercept. And then you go down 3 and right 2. Down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. I'm going to reverse up 3, left 2, and that's all the points I can get. Okay, so now I'm going to check. This is a greater than. Looks like this. It's dashed and above. So I'm going to dash my line. And I want to shade above it. So remember to think about the line as a hill. We walk above ground, not below. So we would be shading this side because that's where we would be walking if we were on the hill. And then I'm going to pull my other equation. I have 3x minus 4y greater than 8. And for this equation, we're going to move the x by changing the sign. That gives me negative 4y greater than negative 3x plus 8. And we divide by negative 4. And I am going to, when I divide by negative 4, flip the inequality. Negative 3 divided by negative 4 is positive 3/4 x, and 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. I am going to start at negative 2, and I'm going to rise 3 and run 4. Rise 3, run 4. Then I'm going to go back to the original and drop 3, left 4. Drop 3, left 4. This line is a dashed line. If you look up at that cheat sheet from above, and we shade below. So if this was a hill, this would be the below. We've got those 4 sections, and the overlap falls right here. You could pick any point in that overlap area, and it would make the equation true. Okay, moving to the back for your other examples. Okay, for number 8, I have 8y is less than negative 10x plus 24. Y is not by itself, so I'm going to bring this down. I need to just divide by 8 because they already moved the x for me. When I divide by a positive 8, it does not change that sign, and negative 10 over 8 becomes a negative 5/4 x, and 24 divided by 8 becomes plus 3. I'm going to start at 3, and then I'm going to go down 5 and right 4. Down 5, right 4. Then I'm going to reverse it, and I'm going to go up 5, left 4. Okay, if you need to flip back to the front for your cheat sheet, this is a dashed line. Okay, since this is dashed, this is a greater than. We want to shade above. So if this is my hill, the above would be where we walk, which is over here. Now I'm going to go to the other equation, and it's just a y. Since it is just a y, it's by itself and ready to go. So we're going to go to the y-axis at 2, which is right here. This will be a horizontal line because y is horizontal, and it's a solid line because it has the equals bar. And less than tells me to shade below. So now we have overlap, and the overlap is right there. Okay, for number 10, I have 5x plus 2y is greater than or equal to 4. So first thing I'm going to do is minus 5x. That gives me 2y is greater than or equal to negative 5x plus 4. And then I must divide by 2. So y I keep greater than or equal to because I did not divide by a negative. 5 over 2x because this cannot divide, and plus 2. I am going to start at 2, and then I go down 5, right 2. Down, right 2. I'm going to reverse and up 5, left 2. Okay, this is a solid line, so I'm going to go ahead and just connect my dots. Hold on one second.
Teacher, sorry for the interruption. Please send the following students.
All right, back at it. Sorry for the announcements, guys. Okay, so now this is a greater than or equal to, so I drew my solid line, and I need to greater than means shade above. So if this is a hill, this would be where we could walk, so I would shade this side. Now I pull my other equation, x plus 4y is less than negative 8. I'm going to move the x by changing its sign. That gives me 4y is less than negative 1x minus 8. And then I have to divide everything by 4. Since I'm dividing by a positive 4, my inequality stays a less than, and negative 1 divided by 4 is negative 1/4 x, and negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. This graph would start at negative 2, and I would be going down 1 and right 4, down 1 and right 4. Then I reverse, so up 1 and left 4, up 1 and left 4. This is a dashed line. Since it's a less than, I want to shade below, so this would be the below portion. So my overlap falls right here. Okay, for number 12, I have x minus 2y is greater than or equal to 12. This is not ny equals, so I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to move that x by changing the sign. That leaves me with negative 2y greater than or equal to negative 1x plus 12. Then I must divide everything by negative 2. Since we're dividing by a negative, we flip our direction of the sign. So I have y is less than or equal to negative 1 divided by negative 2 is positive 1/2 x, and 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, so this one I would start at negative 6. And I would be going up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, move down, go down 1, left 2 to reverse it. This would be a solid line, and I want to shade below because it's less than, so where you cannot walk. Now I go to the other equation, x plus 2y is less than or equal to negative 8. I'm going to move the x by changing the sign. That gives me 2y is less than or equal to negative 1x minus 8. Then I'm going to divide by the number in front of y. Since y is positive, I do not flip my inequality, and this becomes negative 1/2 x minus 4. So I'm going to start at negative 4, and then I'm going down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. Since it's equal to, this is a solid line. Since it's a less than, I shade below. That means where you can't walk. And then you see the overlap would fall right there. Okay, last example. Sarah's pet store never has more than a combined total of 16 cats and dogs. She has also never had more than 9 cats. Write a system of inequalities and graph it to show the possible number of cats and dogs. Okay, first thing, we're talking about two things. We're talking about cats and we're talking about dogs. So we're going to label this cats and this dogs. Okay. Now, I know she has a combined total of 16 cats and dogs, but I don't know how many of each she has. So x plus y equals 16. I also know not equals 16, I'm sorry, never has more. So it has to be less than or equal to 16. She can't fit more than 16 in her storage space, wherever they're at. Okay, now the other equation says she also never has more than 9 cats. So since we're only talking about cats, we find the letter for cats, which is x. I can't have more than 9, so I have to be less than 9 or equal to 9. Now these are our two equations that we can graph. This one's not in y equals, so I need to convert it. I'm going to move the x by changing its sign, and that gives me y is less than negative 1x plus 16. Okay, the other equation's ready to graph, but I'm going to start with this one. We're going to start at 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Here is 16. Okay, and negative 1 tells me to go down 1, right 1, so I'm doing that, down 1, right 1. This is a solid line, so I draw it. And I want to shade below, so this side of the line. Now for x is less than or equal to 9, this is only the x-axis, so I'm going to go to 9. That's right here. This is a vertical solid line. We want numbers less than 9, so if you look at the graph, less is on the left, bigger is on the right, so we'd be shading this side. So possible solutions would fall in here. And now what this means, any solution that could work, I could pick any point. So I'm going to go with this point right here. I could have 1, 2, 3, 4 cats and 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs and satisfy her stipulations. Okay, if y'all have questions, you're just finishing up the odds, so make sure you're asking, and if you need help, ask.